Hi there, and welcome back to Grammar with Kelsey. Today we're taking a look at modals, specifically modals that we use to give and ask for advice. Words like should and ought, and must and have to. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first, what on earth is a modal? Right, this is a brand new grammar term. Probably never heard it before. That's okay. I promise you know what these are. So let's take a look. Okay. So modal is a word, it's another one of our auxiliary verbs, right? That we add to an action. They can do many things like asking for permission, showing ability, inability, showing certainty, possibility. This set we're going to talk about is for giving and asking for advice. Okay, so how do we make these sentences? Right, we use the modal plus the base form of the verb. So words like you should wash the dishes. Should, the modal, wash, the base form of the verb. You ought to. She ought to check the weather. Ought to, modal, check, base form of the verb. You must. I must go to the doctor for my cough. Must, modal, go, base form of the verb. You have to. They have to get together to work on that project. Have to, modal, get, base form of the verb. So that was the positive. What about in the negative? Same thing, we just add not. And the not is actually going to be attached to our modal. Okay, so let's take a look. You should not, you shouldn't. You should not smoke. Ought not, oughtn't to. She ought not to drink so much. So our not is actually going to go right in the middle of the ought to. You must not, mustn't. I must not walk on the grass. And then you don't have to. You don't have to do the project because they'll be gone. All right. We'll talk more about should, ought, must, and have to in the next section and how to choose which one. Okay. How do we ask questions? It's asking for and giving advice. So how do we ask for advice? We stick our modal right at the front. It becomes our question word. Then our subject, then the base form of our verb. So should I, shouldn't I? Should I wash the dishes? Ought I to, oughtn't I to? And our I is going to go right in the middle. Ought I to check the weather? Must I, mustn't I? Must I go to the doctor for my cough? And then, do I have to? Don't I have to? So again, here we add this do. Do they have to get together to work on that project? Now, if you don't feel like putting your modal at the beginning of the sentence, you can also do something like this. What would you do? So here, the question asker wants to know what the answer would do in their place. I would. So in your answer, you will always use I. What would you do? Oh, I would, ... What should I do? Your answer would be you should And if you're using this one, your answer will always be you. Okay, so would, I, should, you. Okay, so let's take a look at which one we should use. Should it be should, must, have? Okay. So should and ought show light obligation, light duty. They're not very important. It's not very serious. So in the positive, you should go to the dentist if your tooth hurts. If you don't go, it's not like the world is going to end, but you will feel better. I ought to check the weather to see if I need a coat. If I don't, worst case scenario, I get wet, right? It's not very important. It's not very serious. In the negative, should not, ought not, could be contracted into shouldn't, oughtn't. And again, ought not is less common. They mean basically the same thing, so we usually use should. And it's still light obligation, light advice. You should not eat fried chicken if you want to lose weight. Right? It won't be the end of the world if you eat fried chicken, but you won't lose weight. He ought not to go to bed late if he's feeling tired. Again, it's not the end of the world if he goes to bed late, but he will still be tired. Right? So light, not serious, small. Have to and must show a strong obligation, strong rule, strong need. So in the positive, I have to go to class now, right? I am running late. Maybe there is an exam. Have to feels more important, more serious. I should go to class now. Not as important, not as serious. She must clean her room before she can go to the movies, right? Maybe she won't be allowed to go to the movies if her room isn't clean. She should clean her room before she goes to the movies. Not as important, not necessary. Must, important, necessary. Now in the negative, so in the positive, have to and must basically mean the same thing, strong obligation. In the negative, they mean two different things. So must not, contracted form mustn't, still means strong obligation, duty, advice. So you must not be late for class again, or you will lose points. It's important. Maybe your grade goes down. It is more serious. You must not drink and drive, right? It's very serious. You could kill someone, right? So strong obligation, strong duty, advice, suggestion, right? And it's saying, don't do this action. Don't do this action, okay? So how is it different from have to? So do not have to, contracted into don't, right? It's not haven't, it's don't and do not have. We add that do. And instead of saying don't do it, it's saying you don't need to do it. Right? I don't have to sweep today because I did it yesterday. There is no need. It is already clean. Right? You must not sweep today. That means don't do the action. Maybe, I don't know, you have to do something else instead. Right? Must not, don't do the action. Don't have to, no need to do the action. Okay. He does not have to buy his mom flowers, but he wants to. Okay. It's not saying don't buy my mom flowers. It's saying you don't need to. Okay. He must not buy his mom flowers. She is allergic, right? Don't buy flowers. He does not have to buy flowers. He doesn't need to. Okay? So do not have to has that special meaning. Make sure you take note and remember that. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, come talk to me. Otherwise, have a good day. See you in class.